Hello, my name is Brian Thompson. I'm with Handheld Delights. We operate out of the Farmers Market from SEIO in Fountain Park. We are at Relish Kitchen Store. They're letting us use their demonstration kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make a couple of things today. We're going to start with a asparagus and mushroom goat cheese quiche. We're going to segue from that while it's resting into a parfait. But first, I will start with the quiche. What you normally do is you buy your ingredients fresh and whole. I pre-sliced all the mushrooms. It's a shiitake, baby portobello, and oyster mushroom blend. The asparagus can be found fresh in Sheboygan all over the place right now. This is fresh goat cheese. And then we use butter from Good Side Market as well. And then just cream. I'm going to start with the preparation of the dough. You're going to use very, very cold butter fresh from the refrigerator. 4 ounces cubed up. You're going to use 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. And then a little bit of salt and pepper. And then ice cold water. For this purpose, I don't have actual ice in it, but I did put it in the freezer so that it will keep the butter nice and firm when you're grinding it. Now you don't want to turn the actual Cuisinart on, you want to pulse it about 4 or 5 times just to blend up the butter into the flour. When you open it, you should see the butter be crumbly about the size of a pea. And you add 1 tablespoon at a time of the ice cold water. You feel it? When it starts to hold itself together, you don't really need to do anything else to it except for turn it out. We'll add about another ½ tablespoon here. We have a dough that sticks together, but is not sticky or over wet. You'll turn that out onto a cutting board and press it all into. Without overworking it, you don't want to play with it too much, you just want to get it into a ball. Once you have it formed into a ball, you want to get it immediately into the cooler, refrigerator, or freezer if you don't leave it there too long. The first thing I would do after that is begin the custard making. Three-quarter cup of cream. Three ounces of goat cheese. You want to hand crumble it. It's easier to work with if you do it cold, otherwise it kind of mushes. Take a whisk and make sure you blend everything together. Now the goat cheese should definitely crumble apart while you're whisking the custard. That's how you're going to evenly distribute the flavor. Otherwise you'll have just giant chunks of nothing but goat cheese. Now we'll wait on this for the time being for the crust to finish. Fruit is great with any quiche you want to make. I especially prefer the berries to other flavors. You want to take about 1 heaping tablespoon of the Greek yogurt, Once you can see it, as you're looking through glass, you should be able to see it kind of coat and reach the bottom, so that when you're taking a bite, you should get a taste of all of it at once, much like a sandwich. Like that. It generally takes about, 15 to 30 minutes for a pie dough to set up so that you can use it. Sometimes less, sometimes, depending on the coolness of your refrigerator. Whatever you do, you don't want to pull it out too early or else it turns very poorly. It'll be too dense, not flaky, which is really what you're going for when you're eating anything like this. Custardy, flaky crust. This is a 9-inch pie plate. That is what one crust that I just described will make. Almost perfectly. It should fit very nicely into that if you roll it out properly. The key to rolling it out is not making it paper thin, or else it will stick in different spots and then you will not be able to get it out of your pie tin. It is also important to make sure to cook it all the way, otherwise it will be undercooked, which leads to not only possibilities for getting sick, your quiche will it's too soggy. In the event that you are intimidated or just don't have the time, which is absolutely a thing, you can go to any grocery store and buy a very good pre-made pie crust. So when you're making your own pie crust, though, it's very important to realize you have to use a lot of flour. It's also very, very, very messy. Flour, flour, flour. That is the most important thing. It's also important not to overhandle your pie crust. Otherwise, you make it too tough. I'm using a fish spatula. That's what it is technically called. You can use there's other utensils to get it from sticking on your countertops. When you're rolling it out, you want to make sure that it comes out beyond the edges of the entire pie plate. And again, flour. And it should generally be the same thickness no matter where you're at in the pie crust. Now, if it starts to fall apart, that happens. It's very easy to fix. Generally, if you're very gentle though, you run a lot less risk of bad things happening to your dough. Now normally I would put a shot of Pam or something in, but I really floured a lot, and this is a non-stick baking dish, which does make a difference. Anyway, as you can see, overshot on places. It's not the perfect crust. So you can kind of balance it out by working it around the sides, sort of spreading it out. You can build up a crust all the way around. The pieces that fall off can be easily reattached. And then take your pre-prepared mix, a spatula, I always say it takes at least 45 minutes, depending on what kind of oven you're using. If you're using an electric oven, generally it takes a little bit longer, even with some gas ovens. If you have a convection oven, again, it can take less time. It just depends on what kind of oven. So base time of about 45 minutes, checking it about every 5 to 6 minutes after that until it's done. So I'll pop this right in the oven. Now, even as it sits now, this is about what you'll be looking at. This probably has another 10 or 15 minutes to go. You're waiting for the top right here. As you can tell, it's not all the way done. It's a little jiggly in the middle. You're getting the nice color on the sides, and all the ingredients are poofing out very, very nicely.